Hi and welcome to Violet Connie Art. Today I'm going to colour mixing tutorial for you today using the 3 true primary colours, yellow, magenta and cyan. This is based off my colour chart that I use in the front of my book that is in my handbag all the time, that I made with my travel set with 3 colours from Winsor and Newton Cotman. And it had cadmium yellow, turquoise and permanent rose. I did mixes of 2 colours to get a range of colours, so it's for quick reference when I'm painting on the go. And on this side I have done mixes of 3 colours in varying amounts. So I've actually made a copy of this for putting on Pinterest, so I'll leave a link to that in the description so you can follow along or use this for whatever you would like. Mine does have a mistake on it, but I fixed that for the Pinterest copy that I have uploaded. So let's get started. I'm actually using my own handmade watercolor palette, the Tasty True Triad, which is now available in my Etsy shop. I have just finished making these and I'm very excited to share them. So I have Yummy Yellow here, and I'm going to start off by just painting the yellow on here like this. Just nice and easy to start, no mixing, just painting the colours as they are lay. So the reason I have this colour that goes down and around, it means that all the ones that are underneath this yellow colour will be mixtures of yellow in the spaces above, if that makes sense. It's hard to paint and talk at the same time, even though I'm just painting a straight color. So straight up I have the Yummy Yellow. It's a beautiful creamy color. It actually looks lumpy in the pan, but when I paint it out, it's not lumpy at all. So I'm not sure why that texture is like that. My other set, the Aussie Nature palette, is similar. It is lumpy for the blue, but it paints smoothly as well. So it's just a way that each of the pigments mix differently, I think. So here I'm doing the Munchie Magenta in the next spot. I love this color. It is absolutely gorgeous. It just paints out so beautifully. I am in love with these colors. Okay, we'll get the magenta around this corner. Oh, it's so lovely. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous color. I love how it paints out. And they're so vibrant and so pigmented. I've found they're handmade watercolors that I've made. I've never tried anybody else's. I've only ever tried my own handmade watercolors, but they are just so much more pigmented than your regular colors a lot of the time. Okay, I think because I just don't add many additives. It's purely a pigment powder, gum arabic, some honey, and also some food grade preservative, just so that the colors last longer for anyone who purchases them. So this one is beautiful as well. It's Creamy Cyan, this one is what I named it. Gorgeous. So now after I've got the main colors down, I'm going to do some mixes. So my first mix is yellow with a touch of magenta. So I've got my yellow here, and I'm just going to grab a tiny bit of this magenta and just pop it in and see what color we get. Might add a little bit more yellow to that. So just like that, and we get a nice kind of golden yellow color. Nearly like a gamboge, I think. And that's very pretty. Nearly actually could be a yellow ochre as well. Kind of a mix between gamboge and yellow ochre. So next I have magenta with just a touch of yellow in it. So we'll get a bit more of the magenta color on here. And get just a touch of the yellow. Oop, too much, so let's watch that out and see how this goes. Now with the touch of yellow that goes in this, it should actually make red. And so this is how the True Primary palette makes primary colors, is by adding just a touch of something to the red, to the magenta or to the cyan to make a true kind of red or blue color. And so this is the red color that you get from the magenta with just a touch of yellow in it. Next, we're going to try and do a straight mix with the red and the yellow, which I'm just going to pop these together here and see how it turns out. So it makes a real orange color in the middle. Just a tad more yellow, I think. The magenta is so strong. There we go. And a nice vibrant orange color. For a kind of equal mix of yellow and magenta in between the red that we got and the kind of yellow ochre color on the other side. I'm going to turn my paper here and going to do the cyan and the yellow. So this is where the greens come in, and we're going to do the yellow with just a touch of the cyan. Mix that on my palette, just a touch. See what green color we come up with. That wasn't enough. Okay, this is like a really pale green, so yellow with just a touch of the cyan. So next is the cyan with just a touch of yellow. So I've got my pile of cyan here. I'll just get a touch of yellow. This will make a lovely blue-green colour. Just get a bit more of the cyan. Oh, it's gorgeous. Keep going with this colour. And it is absolutely gorgeous green. Really like light leafy kind of green. Very bright. Alright, now we want to add a bit more yellow to that and make, we'll try and clean this up a bit in the process, and make a green that is in between those two. So I think this one here will do. Beautiful colour. So you get a nice range, and also there's ranges of colours in between these as well, obviously. Oh, out of the lines there. So that's the greens done. Next up, we're going to have the magenta and the cyan, just with a very teeny tiny touch of cyan. So let's get some magenta, need some water. And pop it on here. So pigmented, so beautiful. With just a touch of cyan. It makes a kind of a really reddy kind of grape colour, but a beautiful purple. I love the purples that are made from this particular palette. So it's much like a deeper kind of purpley magenta colour. A mauve, I think you would call it. Next up I have magenta cyan with just a touch of magenta, and this should make a primary blue color, what we think of as a primary blue color. So let's get our cyan, lots of cyan, and pop it onto the palette, and then we just add a very small touch of the magenta. The magenta is very powerful, so I don't want to go too crazy. So we'll give like a deep kind of blue color. Let's see. I think that's it, got it there. Let's see, there it is. So what you would more think of a primary blue. Okay, and then my favorite, the mix of magenta and cyan together to make an awesome purple color. So we'll get a bit more of the magenta, and we'll pick up some more of this cyan. They reactivate so beautifully. And mix these together, and I went too crazy on the cyan there, and I made my blue. Let's add that to this. I really like that. It's the same color as that, just more pigmented, less water. So let's do that. Alright, now let's go back and add a bit more magenta because I accidentally went overboard with the cyan. and make a nice deep purple colour. Just a touch more. Okay, this is the in-between purple here. It is fabulous, so pigmented, lovely, lovely, lovely. I didn't use too much water this time. Can't go wrong with mixing purples. Need a lot of pigment. Okay. So this is the range of colours you get with the two mixers. Very simple. So the bold one is the one that you want to use more of, and the smaller one is a touch of something, and then the one in the middle with the even amounts is just the in-between shade to give you kind of a full range of colours. All right, and moving on to this bottom one. So this is mixes of 3. So the first thing I want to do is I want to mix kind of an even amount of each into this to make the middle one. So I'll grab some yellow and add it to my purple. Now, I struggle with this a little because this should kind of make a nice brown colour. So this has made a nice browny colour for the middle. And this is kind of the even mix of all the colours for the middle colour. And then for these it works the same, so you want cyan with just a touch of magenta and yellow in it. And there's enough combinations on here that gives you a good idea when you're mixing your colours what you need to aim for to get certain variations. And that's usually what I just use this for, is a quick reference guide to get a good quick visual of this is how much of what paint I need to make my certain colours. So this one's cyan with just a touch of the yellow and the magenta. So touch yellow and touch magenta, and that mixes together a lovely grey colour. If you went darker with this, you could make this a black colour, I think, but I love the slight separation that you get when you mix colours together, and how you can kind of see the different pigment particles of each. It's really cool. Okay, so next I'm going to use Magenta and Cyan in equal large parts with just a touch of yellow. So let's get Cyan, and quite a lot. I'm going to start off with kind of this colour. More to make that kind of colour that we had there before. And then we're going to just do a small touch of the yellow. Just the tiniest bit of that. And this should make a deeper kind of purpley brown, maybe burgundy kind of colour. And there you have it. Next up we have large parts of yellow and cyan with just a touch of magenta. So yellow, large part of yellow. So the base of this will be a green, quite a vibrant green. And then we're going to chuck just a tad of that magenta in, just a tiny little bit, and see how this comes out. Just a little bit more. Comes into a really deep kind of olivey green colour, which is beautiful. Let's get a bit more water in there. Next up we have a lot of yellow with just a touch of cyan and magenta in it. So a big glob of yellow there with just a touch of magenta and just a touch of cyan. Just too much cyan then. Probably just a little bit more the magenta to even it out. Alright, and let's mix these together. This colour makes a nice light brown. I'm going to just try and get a bit more pigment and just a tad of that. Oops. That's better. Nice light brown. Not quite as watery. I like to have my examples as nice and dark so I can really see. So I can imagine them being lighter, but sometimes I can't imagine them being darker. So it's a reddish brown. Next up we have a large part of yellow and magenta with just a touch of cyan. So we're going to get a lot of the yellow and a big chunk of magenta, kind of starting with this yellow magenta mix. Like so. Now we're going to add just a touch of the cyan, just a little. Makes it slightly more reddish brown than the one next to it. And the last colour I'm going to make, just wipe this off a bit, is magenta with just a touch of cyan and yellow. So we'll get a good dose of the magenta. Clean my brush off nicely. Of the yellow, a little bit more, and a touch of the cyan. And mix it into this. And this should come out as a reddy brown if I've done it right. Ah, yes. So this is my final colour mixing chart here, using my Tasty True Triad to get all these beautiful colours. They're colour wheels with a variation of what is in between each colour, and then also variations of mixing 3 colours in different amounts. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you want to buy some of my paints, I have these ones. I also have an Aussie Nature palette. I also have the Tasty True Triad dot card and Aussie Nature palette dot card, and these are much more affordable but have quite a large amount of paint on them, if you can tell by the difference between the pans. And these are affordable but also like enough paint to do a couple of paintings, and I have free postage on these, and also my water soluble graphite as well. This has free postage worldwide as well. These do not have free postage overseas, but I have tried to make it as affordable as possible. Alright, and that's it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget there's a link to the template used in this video as well as to my Etsy shop for those paints in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.